plot out your books before you start writing? Do you know where you're going? And how do you plot everything out? Hi, this is Angela Drake, and welcome to my studio. And today we're talking about a combined plotting plan between me and what Sarra uses over at HeartBreathings, and I will link her channel down below. But I wanted to talk about index cards plotting specifically. But before I do anything with index cards, I start with this 14 by 22 trifold board from Walmart. They're under $2 a piece. And I break down into how many chapters I want to work with. And this helps me keep my date timeline in order when I'm thinking about what needs to happen and where it's going to fall. Now, primarily I'm a pantser, but I do like to have an idea of where I'm going. I don't write out everything completely. I just have a bullet point idea. So like for this one, and I only write in 2 points of view, just so you know. I only write in the hero and the heroine's point of view. So for this one, like for chapter 1, can we see chapter 1 over here? I'm working on my filming table, which is also my crafting table. Excuse me. So I know that chapter 1, I want to introduce the hero's grandmother and the whole purpose behind the book. So I have Katie, the heroine, meeting with Miss Edna, where we're going to get that background view. And then I get the hero's point of view, Mark, when he gets the news about having found his grandfather's remains. And so that happens between February 5th and February 7th. And my end goal is to get us down to the memorial service around the 28th of May. And that's my timeline. And so I start everything else here. My heroine is in pink, my hero is in blue. So for that, let's move this aside. I start with my index cards. And because I only write in 2 points of view, I can use the index cards from Dollar Tree. They come in a bundle of yellow, the teal, the red, or the pink, and the blue. Now, this is multiple packs. I think I have like 3 or 4 packs here. You don't get this many. But I have what I need to plot out the next 3 to 4 books in my index cards. So the blue is my hero, the pink is my heroine, the teal is going to be the chapter overview, and then the yellow is the scene cards. Now, how do I keep them straight? Let's talk first about what I started using. I first saw Sarra using the single photo albums. They're brag books. They sell for, I think they're now $1.25 at Dollar Tree, but I think you can get them a little cheaper, a little less expensive, excuse me, at Walmart. And they have the one single pocket. Now, I started this. Story editions I needed to add in. The purple was from the chapter overview. The pink was the heroine. And I used washi tape, but trying to find the washi tape colors that I wanted to work with really didn't work for me. And I could only see this. I couldn't see more than 2 cards at a time. And so then I saw about, I don't know, 6 months or so ago, I saw Sarra use these. Now, these are also similar to the brag book, and I'm not going to open this one, but I ordered mine from Amazon, and I'll link it down below. But with these, you get a 2-card view. So I start with my chapter overview, and I have a place to put my woodcut, and I have the date. Now, I started this, and this was what I would work with from home. And then I went to this. This was what I could take with me when I wrote away from home. But I found myself not taking this because I wasn't using it effectively. So I went to this double pocket. Remember, my blue cards, excuse me, are my chapter overview. But then when I turn the page, I have the scene 1 and scene 2. Scene 1 comes from Katie's point of view, so I have her information written on a pink index card. Mark is in scene 2, and his is from the blue, in the blue index cards. Now, that may change because So I know that this is what happens in chapter 1. This is what needs to happen from Katie's point of view. This is what needs to happen from Mark's point of view. But you'll notice sometimes that changes. So I have the chapter 2 overview and the scenes. But scene 3 starts with Mark's point of view. So I have the blue index card up here for Mark. And then for scene 4, then we bring in Katie's point of view. Now that is my voice. And that is how I keep my points of view in line, where you don't find me head hopping in my books, because I know this is what Mark is going to show us. This is what Katie is going to show us. And I have this set up. I'm still adding index cards since I switched this over, but I'm getting this set up through the entire book. So this I will take with me if I want to write away from the home and if I want to write remotely. So that I know, okay, I'm working on chapter, let's see what chapter we are. I'm working on chapter 7 today. I know that we're meeting with Stephanie, who is the event planner. I know that Mark flies out to go back to prepare to bring his grandfather's remains home. So in scene 13, meeting with Stephanie, this is from, and I wrote Stephanie up here, but it's actually Katie's point of view. With them meeting with Stephanie and starting to plan the memorial service and the after gathering. And then scene 14, I know that if I'm going to get through this, I can jump right into Mark's point of view, him flying out and meeting with Noreen in Little Rock, who is his mortuary liaison in Little Rock. And so this keeps me in line. It also snaps closed, and it will hold a ton of index cards. As you can see, I have room back here to put extra cards in case I need to jump into something, add something. I can, or if something isn't working, I can change the scene card. I can change the hero and heroine cards. I can even add chapter cards if I need to, but right now I'm set up for 18 chapters for this book. So it's really easy if you take and start with a basic plan, which is my folio. I start with a basic plan. Then I can set up my index cards, my chapter card. This is what needs to happen in chapter 1, and it happens between February 5th and February 7th. Then I add in, okay, what is Katie's scene about? What is Mark's scene about? This is scene 1 and scene 2. And then I can go through all of this, put them on the index cards, and then this does not have to go with me anywhere, even at a hotel retreat. That can stay home, and this is all I need to take. So, one more quick walkthrough of this. My teal cards are my chapter, and yes, there are 2 cards there. They fill in the pocket. It gives me room to expand on what needs to happen in chapter 1. Then I turn the page, and I have, this is the scene, this is the first scene, this is the second scene. Scene 1 is in Katie's point of view. So this is Katie's point of view. This is what Katie needs to show me. Scene 2 is Mark's point of view about getting the news. So this blue card is Mark, and it tells me what Mark is going to show me. Now, if you have more points of view, you can always change these and add extra scenes. So this would be, instead of changing to another chapter view here first, you could add in scene 3 and scene 4 and whose points of view they're going to come from. And you can do that as much as you need to do for the way that you write. So if I wrote in multiple points of view the way Sarra does, I think sometimes she has 8 and 10 points of view. So I would have scene 1, scene 2, but scene 3, who is that point of view from in this? Scene 4, who is that point of view? And then when I get to a new chapter, then I bring in the next set of chapter cards, start my scenes and my points of view, and just continue on. So whether you're working from a single point of view, you're working from 2 points of view, you're working from multiple points of view, you can set this up, and this is all you need to take with you if you want to write remotely or you have limited desk space at home. My desk is not set up to where I have a place to set that up. I'd have to set up a side table to put my portfolio, to put my folio board up on. This I don't have to. I can have this open next to me on my computer and say, okay, where am I going next? Or I also don't write in I also don't write my scenes in order. I may have scene 1 and 2 done, but then the idea comes to me for what needs to happen in scene 15 and whose point of view it's coming in, and I can write that. This also helps me by writing out of order. When I get ready to piece things together, I can see what needs to happen and pull those scenes in order on my computer. So, okay, I have this piece. Mark is back in Eureka Springs. Okay, where did that come in at? So I can pull that up and say, okay, it needs to become scene 3. It needs to come in after Mark's point of view here. So I can pull those in, and see, at this one I've got scene 3 comes in Mark, so we come back with Mark coming back to Eureka Springs to deliver the news and his meeting with Katie. Because let me get to Mark's point of view. Mark here gets his news, but in chapter 2, we open with his point of view when he is first meeting with Katie after 8 years and telling her that he's found his grandfather and that he wants her to help him to take the news to grandmother, because his grandmother and his mother think so much of Katie that he wants her there with him, and it kind of helps bring them back together. So I know that that's where that needs to come in. So not only does it help keep you in line as you're writing if you write in chapter order, but if you don't write in chapter order, when you get ready to pull things together, it will help you bring those pieces back in the order that they need to be placed. So it also works not only in your plotting, but in your first round of editing when you're pulling everything together and making sure you have not missed any beats. Now, I am not a beat writer. I am not an act writer. I tell a story. But I also know that in telling the story, things fall where they're supposed to. And so that helps me make sure that I'm hitting all those notes. So that is scene cards and how I use the index cards when I write. Like I said, I started a little all over the place. I've been writing for, 40 years. And I've been all over the place. And then I got this idea from Sarra, and it worked okay. But I found myself not opening this book to see where I'm at because it was kind of hard to tell. Nothing was color-coded correctly because I couldn't find the right washi tape colors. I could have used markers, but it still didn't let me see both points of view at the same time. This one lets me see my chapter overview, the scenes, and the character overviews for that entire chapter. So I get to see a bird's eye view of the chapter. And that is really helping me pull this book together after 8 years. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to try and answer them, do a follow-up video. The other thing that I have found in gathering is, like I said, because I work with these 4 colors, I also found these 4 colors in the Post-its, I believe, at Dollar Tree. So as I'm going through and doing my edits, because I edit hard copy, I can write down what I see. Now, the other thing, quick things I need to go back and check. I also found at Ollie's, I found legal pads in all of my colors except the yellow. But I didn't really need the yellow per se. I need to worry about the chapter and the points of view. So I have teal for the chapter overview, and then I have the pink and the blue for my character notes that I need to, as I said, because I write hard copies, that I can go through, and I have much more room here to write, okay, this is what I messed up, this is what I need to include, and I have a hard copy of it. And then I found it only came in blue, green, and pink. But I wanted to set up for the next 3 books, so I had to buy 2 packages. And I keep everything contained. I also found plain plain pads that I use. But I keep everything in a deep iris case. I don't know how much this will show. For now, till I finish getting my office put together, I keep all of this in an iris case till I get my writing corner put back together. And then I have a cube shelf, and I'll have a cube basket that all of these things will fit into, so that I can keep everything together, not in 14 gazillion different places all over my office the way some things are. So that is me in my studio today. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the description, in the comments below. I'll be happy to come in and answer them, or do a follow-up video for Q&A. But this is how I work with index cards to plot my books. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'd like to at least hit 50 subscribers by Christmas, and I think with your help we can do it. And I will see you back here next Wednesday when I'm going to be talking about my 2026 planner layout, and it has changed drastically. So you're going to want to come back and see what I've been working with and how I'm changing things up. All my best.